Today I'm showing you this awesome budget Phantom Knights combo deck. After that, I'll show you how to do the primary combo in solo mode, and then I'll show you how to upgrade this further if you want to spend more materials. So that way you'll see what I'm actually playing when I'm able to use a bunch of ultra rares instead of this budget variant. But still, I really like this budget variant, so stick around. So for once, we're gonna start with the extra deck because that is actually where Phantom Knights really shines and lives. This is also where all of the ultra rares are for this particular budget deck. You know, the only ultra rares you see in the main deck are ones you normally got for free if you've been watching my guides. So starting all the way to the right over here, we have Phantom Knights of Rusty Bardish, and this is the most important card in the deck. You literally cannot play Phantom Knights, in a pure variant at least, without this card. This is the bread and butter, the heart and soul. It sends Phantom Knights from the deck to the graveyard, which is where you want them. That's where you get extra value from them. Then it sets a spell or trap, meaning you now have access to even more plays. Then it can also destroy things from your opponent by summoning Xyz dark monsters to its arrows, and basically it does everything. It is like the extender, the starter, the combo, it does everything. So every single Phantom Knights combo will attempt to make this card. Now the second card we want to talk about is, to its left, Cherubini. Cherubini is basically the easiest way to make Rusty, our actual boss. So you'll notice in every single Phantom Knights combo tutorial or deck profile or whatever, they will always try to make a Cherubini, and then Cherubini makes it very easy to make Rusty. He has a bunch of text, but all you're really using here is send something from deck to grave. End of story. As you will notice, the way to make him is 2 level 3 monsters. So that's why all of the cards in our deck are level 3 monsters. Then, for another ultra rare, let's look at Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon. As you can see, this needs level 4 monsters. However, we have another card that will turn our level 3 monsters into level 4s, so don't worry about that. We don't tend to use this card's effect, but we basically need this card to make an even more powerful card. And that is Dark Requiem Xyz Dragon. Again, in the combo, all of this will become clear, but this is going to be the primary combo that this deck uses. Now, there's other variants of this deck where you may make another monster, and again, in the more expensive variant of the deck, you will notice that there's multiple things you can do, there's multiple lines you can play, but I personally find that when you're trying to budget, this is probably going to be the best way to go about it. Next, there's one more really required card, and that is this boy, the Phantom Knights of Breaksword, and I was really lucky to get him in this fancy rarity because Phantom Knights is like my favorite deck in the game right now. Again, this one needs 2 level 3 monsters, so that's very easy to make, and then once per turn you can detach one material and then target one card you control and one card your opponent controls and destroy them. So this is a bit weird, but there's actually a lot of combos where it's good that you are able to destroy your own cards. Beyond that, if this Xyz summoned card is destroyed, you can target 2 Phantom Knights with the same level, level 3, special summon them and increase their levels by 1. And again, they were 3 before, they're becoming level 4 now, and that way you can then make this guy, Dark Rebellion, which then leads to our other combos. So those are the most important cards in the extra deck, but then there's one more pretty cool card that I put in here because it's just a rare anyway. Again, it's 2+ level 3 monsters, which is not too hard to make, and then essentially this is like a weird negate. So for that reason he's in here, but it's not that important either. I just put it in here because it's a rare. As you can see, extra deck 6. Obviously, if you have more gems, check out the deck later in this video where you can see my complete list with 15 cards. With that being said, I really wanted to start with the extra deck because you won't necessarily understand all of the other choices if you didn't see these other cards. So then we go into the main. First of all, we have 3 Junk Forward. Now this is a rare, so really easy to craft, and it's a warrior, so you can actually search it with Reinforcement of the Army and Ultra, which you got for free if you followed the guide. If you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand, which is really good because we want to have multiple level 3s on the field in order to make Cherubini that we spoke of earlier. So this is just the easiest special summon you can imagine, right? You start your turn, field is empty, plop, Junk Forward. Then you just have to normal summon one more thing and you're done. You're ready to combo off. Another card that's similar to that, Kagemucha Knight, once again a warrior, level 3. When you normal summon the level 3 monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, but it cannot be used as synchro material. But as you notice, this extra deck doesn't have synchros, so it doesn't matter. So once again, this plus any other level 3 is gonna make your Cherubini, which is what we're after. If you have this plus any other card except for these two, but don't worry too much about it, you'll almost always have the others. Special it, you now have 2 level 3s, make your Cherubini, and we're off to the races. Next up, we have the first SR here, and this card, Graph, together with Seer, is basically a package. You can't divorce these two. Technically, you could build this deck without these if you don't have the SR material for this guy. It's still really good to just have access to it. Essentially what this does, a bunch of text that you can ignore right now. The most important part is if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 Burning Abyss from your deck. This means that when Cherubini uses its skill to send something from deck to graveyard, this card, it will then summon the other guy, Seer. And so that way, that means that if you make just 1 Cherubini, kill this, grab this, now you have an extra dark on the field. So this Seer, together with Cherubini, now makes Rusty, and that means we're gonna combo. Now, obviously, we haven't shown any Phantom Knights yet, but we'll get to that right now. So first of all, we have Ancient Cloak. The most important skill here is the second one. The first one will sometimes come up. Again, take your time to read all this. If I'm just gonna read you all the cards, you could do that yourself as well. The most important part is basically that if it's in your graveyard, you can banish it and then search for another Phantom Knight. Very often, that will be your Boots, because Boots has the skill that he can special summon himself from your hand if you already have a Phantom Knight. So this way you can basically combo off, because Rusty, for example, our best boy, can send Cloak. Cloak will be in the graveyard, banish Cloak, grab Boots, and then you can special Boots because you already have Rusty. And then you just keep comboing off. Then you kill your Boots, he's in graveyard. Now you can banish the Boots to go grab another card, and then you just keep on going further and further and further. Now we're also playing the 3 Boots right here, because if you have another Phantom Knight in your opening hand, which is almost always, you can just normal summon that Phantom Knight. Again, we have a bunch of these, and then he can special summon himself out, meaning you now have 2 level 3 monsters, meaning you can make Cherubini again, meaning you can send this, special this, and make your Rusty. So as you see, almost everything in this deck leads to a turn 1 Rusty. That's the whole goal. And then of course after that you link him off, you kill him, you can banish him later, you can either grab this if you want to combo off further, or you can grab Fogblade, which is basically the best card in the deck, but we'll get to that later. Next we have Ragged Gloves. Now this is honestly the weakest, or one of the weakest Phantom Knights, but we still run 3 in this deck because it is very budget friendly. It's just a normal card, so you can craft it easily. You'll never run out of normal material, but in the ideal list you'll only play 1 because it's still good. It has a follow-up effect where you can basically banish this and then send another Phantom Knight card from your deck to your graveyard, meaning you get to combo even further. Like let's say he's in grave, you get rid of him, you're able to search for something else to put it in grave, you can banish that, do even more plays. So in the budget variant, I gladly run 3, especially because it's a Phantom Knight's name, so we can then special Silent Boots out as well. But it's not that incredible either, so usually it's at 1. Next we have the 1 Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is just an incredible card, and again we got 1 for free if you watched the guide, or you already knew that you had to buy the bundle deal. So we have 1, we might as well run it. Then we have Stained Greaves. Some would argue this is actually the weakest Phantom Knights card. However, it is again a different name, and it has a little interesting skill that creates a different kind of summon. So all of these other Phantom Knights summon in a particular way, and this one just gives you 1 more option. Again, read it because I could make like 20 different scenarios where this would come up. You'll just have to practice a little bit with this, but you know, even if you're new to this, just consider it another Phantom Knight. You'll be glad that you have it once you play the deck a little while longer. Now next we have the best Phantom Knight probably in the deck, and that is the Phantom Knights of Thorn Scale. This card by himself confirms you have a Rusty. So all the other cards are like, oh, I need 2 cards, right? Oh, I need to have this, and together they make this other thing. This guy by himself is Rusty. You place him, you can discard 1 card, and then you can send 1 Phantom Knights card from your deck to the graveyard. So if you have the worst hand, the worst, brickiest shit hand, you can literally place this, you can discard anything, just a bad card that you didn't need right now, send the Cloak from your deck to the graveyard, banish it, add the Silent Boots, and now you can special the Silent Boots, and now you have 2 level 3s, and you make Cherubini. So once again, this card plus any other card, doesn't matter, worst hand ever, it's still gonna turn into a Rusty. Beyond that, it will then extend even further, because if he's in the graveyard and you have another Phantom Knights using their Banish skill, which you're constantly using, he will special summon himself. So now you can combo even further. He's just incredible. I'm actually mind blown. This is only a rare, because when I'm looking at other decks and the things that they've made ultra rare, this just at rare makes no sense to me. I'm happy, you know, that makes this deck extremely budget friendly, but it's incredible. So yeah, we're running 3 of that. For obvious reasons, really good card. Next we have the One Raigeki. Again, in the perfect build, I wouldn't be running this, but it's just a powerhouse of a card and we got it for free. Monster Reborn, again, in the perfect build, I wouldn't be running it, but again, really solid powerhouse card and we got it for free. It's better than some of the rares you'll see here later that I put in for budget reasons. Next we have the Reinforcement of the Army. Really solid card, actually really good, would still be in the final build, but we got it for free, luckily. So this can search for any level 4 or lower warrior monster, and as you can see, this whole deck is warriors. Our Junk Forward, warrior. Kagemucha, warrior. Thorn Scale, warrior. This can search for anything. Next we have a Lightning Storm, a really solid card, and again, we got it for free. Next, 3 Mystical Space Typhoon. In an ideal world, these would be more Lightning Storms or Harpy's Feather Duster or something along those lines. There are some decks out there like Skill Drain. Like if you watched my budget Eldritch deck, maybe there's people running around with Skill Drain now. You want to be able to kill those Skill Drains with the Mystical Space Typhoon, as well as other, you know, nasty back rows or stuff like that. So it's still good to have access to some spell and trap destruction. For that reason, we are running it. But the perfect build would once again run something else. I'll show you that later in the video. Next, we have 2 Book of Moon. Once again, a solid budget option. In an ideal world, you would have something like an Ash here or something that stops your opponent from even playing the game altogether. Maybe a Forbidden Droplets. But in the budget alternative here, we can basically target a face-up monster on the field and put it face down. So if your opponent has some super strong skill, some crazy negate monster or anything like that, Book of Moon it goes face down, and now you can combo off and just kill it later. Next we have Forbidden Chalice, very similar to Book of Moon. You basically choose a monster, it doesn't have its effect anymore, and now you can just kill it off with your Rusty or any of the other cards like a Break Sword and so forth. Then for more Phantom Knights cards, we have our Phantom Knights Rank Up Magic. So this card is actually part of the complete combo. You will be trying to set this with a Rusty skill or search it off a boot skill, and then this will actually allow you to transform your Rebellion into your Requiem. And the best part is you can do this in your opponent's turn. So maybe you have your Rebellion on the field and he targeted it with Destruction or something along those lines. You're going to be able to chain this to that to then make your Requiem, and they just wasted a card to kill your Rebellion that's no longer there. And then the best part of that is, since you then summoned a Xyz Dark monster to an arrow of him, you also get to destroy a card of your opponent. So maybe they normal summon something that you don't really like, you activate this, you get rid of your Rebellion, it makes a Requiem, and then Rusty destroys that monster. Next up, we have Phantom Knight's Wing. Now, this card's skill is kinda shit. You wanna read it, again, it'll come up in some situations, take your time with it, but the most important part is his last skill. You can banish this card from your graveyard and then revive a Phantom Knight's monster. So let's say you dumped your Ragged Gloves from one of your skills. It's pretty easy to dump a Ragged Gloves. Now your opponent breaks your board. They kill your Rusty, you know, and you're not very happy about that. You are able to banish your Ragged Gloves to send your Wing, and then you can banish the Wing to revive your Rusty. And your opponent doesn't like that, because this means you get to play the game again. Now, beyond that, what could also happen is maybe you have your Break Sword in your graveyard. Again, perfectly possible. You had to kill it at some point in one of your combos. You can actually banish your Ragged Gloves to send your Wing, revive the Break Sword with that Wing to an arrow Rusty is pointing to then once again destroy something from your opponent. So the first skill, again, it'll sometimes come up, but the most important part is that revive. Being able to just revive at any point. You can randomly survive a strong opposing turn because of it. You can destroy boards. You can get back your Rusty. It's super versatile for that reason. And you always can grab it because of these Ragged Gloves. Next, we have our Shade Brigandine. So this special summons itself as a monster. And that just sometimes comes up. Sometimes you're happy that your boots can search for your trap here. And then you can activate this and you have an extra monster to extend your combo plays. Then we have Solemn Judgment. This stops anything. Once again, we have it for free. if you watched the video or you knew how to buy the bundle deals. So why not run it? It's really, really solid. Finally, we have Fog Blade, and this is the strongest card ever. So essentially it says target an effect monster and negate that face-up monster's effects. So just like the Forbidden Chalice, but then better, because wait, you can basically negate a bunch of effects and that way break your opponent's board, stop their combos and so forth. But beyond that, that face-up monster can also not attack and cannot be attacked. So if your opponent is going to swing in for a game with a huge-ass boss or something like that, you activate this, now it can't attack. It is unable to be attacked, so on your own turn, you'll have to destroy it with some of your other skills, or you can destroy your own Fog Blade with something like your break sword, and then you can still attack over the monster anyway. So you're kind of in control with this card. However, its second skill is that you can banish it to revive something. So just like Wings, it also has that extra revival skill. So that is the budget variant. We will now head into solo mode, do a combo, and then after that, I'll show you how you can further upgrade this deck. Again, we're not trying to do some crazy ranked play or anything like that. I'm just going to go first. I don't want to get ashed in the middle of my combo and then do some crazy stuff and make it confusing. We're just going to do the basic combo right here in this solo mode. We are going first. That way you can actually see what a full combo normally looks like. So this is already combo pretty easily. So we are going to Thorn Scales to send something else, and then the probably discard the Cloak to be able to search Boots. Something along those lines, please. So we're going to activate our Thorn Scales right here. We're going to discard our Cloak. Normally, again, we could search for anything. We'll send the Gloves because this then can later search us anything else, and that would be pretty easy. So next, we'll activate our Cloak effect. We're going to banish it. And that way, we can look for our Boots. So again, if you only had the Thorn Scales, you could just mill a Cloak from your deck and do the exact same thing. So we're going to special summon our Boots. Doesn't matter if it's attack or defense. Next, we are going to Cherubini right here. So we are going to get rid of these guys. Special it right here. And then this is going to send our Graph. Select one monster, it gains some attack, doesn't really matter, but we activate the Graph to special summon the Seer. This means we now have the two monsters, so we are able to special summon our Rusty, because Link 2 and Link 1 makes our Link 3 right here. So right here we have the Rusty. Select optional effect, sure. That will then special summon a Cherubini. If you have the more expensive version of the deck build, this Cherubini could then be used to make some even crazier combo boards as well. But we're trying not to do that right now, just for the sake of simplicity. So next we will activate our Rusty Bardish right here. Now what else could we possibly need? We technically already have basically everything. So we'll just send this Greaves right here. All right. And then we can set one card. So we are going to set this rank up card, which will lead to the rest of our combo. So we're going to set it. All right. And then we're going to activate another effect here in the grave. So I'm going to use my Gloves. By banishing it, we can then send something else to the graveyard, and we are going to send Wings. Remember, like I said, Wings is going to be able to revive us another Phantom Knight. Now it will tell us if we can activate Thorn Scales, and we will. Like I said, it will revive itself because something else was banished. We don't chain right now, and we just put it right here. All right. Then next, and again, I have a Monster Reborn in my hand, so technically I could combo with that, but I'm trying to show you that even without any other cards, just a Thorn Scale is enough to have our full combo. So next we will activate our Phantom Knight's Wings to revive something, and we will grab that Greaves. We didn't really need it right now, but again, it's just an extra name, so we can just summon it right here. Now we have these level 3s right here, so we can make an Xyz. So we're going to special summon our Break Sword with these two level 3s. just like that. And we activate the optional effect of Bardish. Now this is going to be weird. This optional effect will destroy something, and we will destroy our own breaksword. I know that's weird, but the reason we do that is because when he's destroyed, his skill will activate, which will give us back those same materials. I know it's very odd. Why would we go in this, like, roundabout way of just getting those same cards back? What's the point? We just lost our breaksword. Well, the point is that they will come back as level 4s. So as you can see right here, they are level 4, meaning we can now make an Xyz that is level 4. So we're going to kill these right here and put this guy in face-up defense position. Just like that. And then, finally, we're going to activate one more skill. We're going to activate our boots, which will search us a fog blade. And again, with extra extenders, the more expensive deck, you can do even crazier combos, but this is like the most basic combo. So what do we have right here? We have our Rusty, which is just an incredible boss monster. If he doesn't get rid of this next turn, we are able to do all of these plays again and go even further and so forth. And it can also destroy things. Remember, when an Xyz that's dark is summoned to one of his arrows, as you can see on the card, arrow left and right downward, so in these two spots, he can destroy something. We have that. And then we have this guy that during their turn will transform into another guy that has 3 negates. Beyond that, we also have the Fog Blade, that's another effect. So that's 4 negates. And remember, when using this rank up on this guy in their turn, we also have a Destroy. So we basically have 4 negates, 1 destruction. Just like that. Now, we are lucky we also have our Solemn Judgment right here. Alright, so we're going to use that destruction effect so you can actually see the final board. And sure, we can also set our Book of Moon, you know, in case our opponent has anything, but I strongly doubt it. So we're going to end turn, we'll see what he summons, and then we're just going to destroy whatever he summons. So he just placed something, so we're going to activate the rank up. How many cards do you wish to banish? 1? Sure. We'll just banish one of the Burning Abyss monsters. They won't really come up anymore. And then we're going to destroy this right here. We don't want to chain to that. And we're going to make our Dark Requiem. So once again, a really powerful card. 3 negates on him just like that in one single card. And then because he's summoned to that very point, you know, the arrow down from Rusty, we can use the skill to destroy a card. We'll destroy that set card just in case it's something crazy powerful. But again, I doubt it. It's just solo mode. All right, and so now we have this board. So this means that we have another destruction. We have our Book of Moon we already had. Sure, we have MST. Again, this is just a regular fight. It doesn't really matter. But we're basically set. We are so set, it's actually crazy. Can we OTK? I mean, it's solo mode, it really doesn't matter. So we'll destroy this card. I doubt it's any useful. Alright, we'll put this into attack. We'll use our Rusty. What do we use? We have a gloves, so yeah, I guess we're gonna gloves right here. Select a card to set on the field. I guess another Fog Blade. It's really not gonna matter. Then we're going to activate our gloves to send another Fog Blade. Remember, the Fog Blade has a revival skill. So activate the activation. Activate the Fog Blade right here. We're going to get back our break sword. Nope, we don't want to chain anything. We'll get it in attack position to an arrow. So we're going to activate the optional effect. Absolutely. We're going to destroy this card as well. Nope. Alright, so what do we have now? We're missing a little bit of power here. Yeah, sure. Alright, so now we have enough to kill. So we go into battle, we attack. I wasn't meant to actually play this out, but it's kind of whatever. Sure, we can kill it, I guess. But just goes to show, you know, you can kill quite some stuff. before you actually then try an OTK. But even if they were a real deck, you would still be able to negate 3 whole monsters with the Requiem. You still had your Fog Blades and everything. So, you know, even if that was a real deck, they were probably gonna be hurting. The only thing that really hurts, of course, is a Maxi or an Ashe stopping you at the right time. But even Ashe you can play through if you have some more extenders. Alright, so I've shown you the basic combo. Again, the first turn was the most important. Everything after that, you know, cool, an extra little bonus. So now I will show you the more full power deck that I have right here, that I actually also use to rank up a bit. Alright, so this is more full power. Now I will say this is not the perfect list in my opinion. In an ideal world, we would also get Tour Guide in here. Tour Guide is an incredible card, but it's an ultra rare and you want to play 3. So I didn't feel like crafting 3 ultra rares. There's also some stuff I would want to put in the extra deck and so forth. But this is still, you know, way closer to full power. First of all, we have our 3 Maxi. Obviously, you want to be crafting those Maxis. They're absolutely broken. There's no reason not to play this. So that's different from the list. Again, I play the 3 Ashe because I want to be able to stop my opposing Maxi. That's how powerful Maxi is. Then we have these Psychic Boys. So these are actually pretty easy to craft, but they get better when you also have emergency teleports, which is more SR, so that's why I didn't put it in the budget variant. Also, if you had tour guides, you might be cutting these. So again, it's like not the highest priority in my opinion. Next, I had more lightning storms in here. I had a Twin Twister, so that's basically 3 cards of Spell and Trap Destruction, though you could argue you would probably want Forbidden Droplets over these, which are again ultra rares. So that card would be Forbidden Droplets right here. This card is used to break opposing boards when going second and sometimes negate stuff when going first. So very versatile card, but again, ultra rares. And you can actually pull for these. That's the tip I gave in a previous video as well. So this is not the first thing I'm personally crafting because I am able to open packs and potentially pull this as an ultra rare, which is not the case for stuff like Maxi and Ashe because this is in a specific secret pack. So next we have Called by the Grave, also incredible card. This can stop Maxi and Ashe. So if my opponent Maxis or Ashes me and I have this Called by, I can basically stop them right then and there. And you can also use this to counter certain decks. There are certain graveyard-centric decks like this one that really don't like to get their important pieces called by it. So that's also an option. Then we have Crossout Designator in here. Again, incredible card to stop Maxi and Ashe. That's how big they are. However, you can also stop other cards. So you could, for example, stop your opponent's Forbidden Droplet with that card. So very versatile as well. Moving into the extra deck, I have an extra Break Sword. Now, this is probably a pretty good thing to make if you are on a budget still. So if you have that budget deck and you notice, hey, I still have some SR material, a second Break Sword, this card right here, would probably be good. Leviair is also pretty good though. It can further extend, but the problem is the value only really comes on Leviair when you have other big ultra rares to make. So for that reason, the second Break Sword is a bit more important. We have the Down Earth Magician. This card is only useful if you also have Zeus. So if you're not crafting Zeus, don't craft Down Earth, but if you did craft Zeus, do craft Down Earth. So then we have this, I already showed you that, and we also have a Raider's Knight. Once again, this is an SR, so pretty easy to make if you have that, pretty solid. This will turn itself into one of these bigger dragons, the rank 5s essentially. If you don't want to do the rank up play for some reason, you can craft this to then make these as well. But the downside is that at the end of your opponent's turn, the card will vanish. So it's a bit weaker than the rank up play, but sometimes it can be all you need to actually win the game. So then we have that Dark Requiem that I already showed you in the profile, and we also have an Arc Rebellion. So this is another option, just like the Requiem that I showed you earlier. You can also do the rank up play into this. So that's also really solid, and some people prefer to make him, but sometimes I'm just greedy and I like to have the 3 negates instead, but it's definitely strong. So if you want to craft some extra options, that is definitely solid. Next we have Zeus, incredible card, going second and so forth. Also works in a lot of decks. If you haven't seen my ultra rare cards to craft guide, this one is in here. This is really a solid craft because he's in so many decks. So if you make him and then you're like, I don't really like Phantom Knights, don't worry, you can still play him in other decks as well. Next up we have Link Spider. Link Spider, you know, doesn't come up that often. He's only in here because this is a normal monster, so you can turn this into this, and then you have an extra effect monster, which is good to make these 2 guys, but we'll get to that. Then we have the Nightmare Phoenix. This is an SR, but it doesn't really come up often. However, I do have it in my budget cards to craft guide, and the reason for that is you are able to use this in a bunch of decks. So again, if you craft this and you're kind of sick of Phantom Knights, maybe you want to play some other deck, you can still play Phoenix in it probably. Finally, we have these two. Don't craft both, in my opinion. The only reason I have both is because I pulled one of them and crafted the other. So Boral Sword Dragon is a OTK card. Usually you make this and you're going to try and one turn kill. So after breaking your opponent's board open, essentially, you make a Boral Sword and you OTK. However, Access Code also does that. It's also an OTK card. You break your opponent's board open, you make this and you can probably OTK. This one is usually the better one. So if you have to pick one, you have to craft one. This is probably the better one. You can also pull for it, however. So personally, I first tried pulling open a bunch of packs that had him to try and get him. You can also pull for Boral Sword if you wanted to. Now there's one more card that I really wanted to show you, and that's Appaloosa. So this card right here. If you make that Cherubini that I showed you before, so if you make this guy, it's actually pretty easy to also end your board with an Appaloosa on it. And she will essentially be a bunch of negates as well. So that's again really solid, being able to negate a bunch of stuff your opponent did for free. If you play Appaloosa, there's also an argument for playing IP Masquerena right here, because then you are able to make the Appaloosa in your opponent's turn, and then they're not very happy. Because then, you know, maybe they play some kind of disruption, they're trying to kill something you have, and then you go, oh, wait, IP creates Appu in your turn, and now I get to negate and stuff above that, and you already wasted a card to try and stop me. And then finally, there's one more package that a lot of people like to play, and that is the Utopic package. So basically, you create this number F0 Utopic Future right here, and then that creates this guy, Utopic Draco. So this is really solid for sure. You can negate something your opponent does and then steal their monster. They don't like that. It's really good for that reason. And beyond that, this also can't be destroyed by battle or card effect. So this is really good to make, but again, you're going to need some of the other cards here that are less budget, like you're going to need the Leviers, you're going to need this guy, and then you're going to need him, and it's a bit harder to make than the combo I showed you. Regardless, it's strong. For sure. And the first thing I do when I'm going to upgrade this deck further is make this Utopic Draco Future right here. And the way to make him is with this. But again, it's not as beginner friendly, so I try to keep it simpler with the other combo earlier. So that is everything. I hope you found this interesting. We have our budget PK deck right here. And again, just use the other tricks I showed you to upgrade it if you really like it. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And also, I stream on Twitch. Link is in the description. Go follow me there if you want to hang out. And I will see you soon. Ciao.